and that little rich snot, Jared Kushner, what a little prick he is, isn't he? Huh? Isn't he just a classic example of a kid who is given every goddamn thing he could possibly want, plus never had to do anything in his life except sit around and ride his daddy's coattails, sit there and talk to the movers and shakers in Manhattan about making this deal and that deal. Kushner learned early on about the benefits of being deeply in debt with lending institutions, because then they can't do anything to you. Because if they do, then they lose whatever chance they might have of recouping some of their losses. You know, when you owe $1,000 to the bank, you owe $1,000 to the bank. When you owe $100 million to the bank, you and the bank are then partners. In an explosive interview, I like these words, boom, boom, explosive. Former New York Observer editor-in-chief Elizabeth Spiers said that Kushner told her that Trump never believed the so-called birther conspiracy theory, but he found it effective because, quote, Republicans are stupid and they'll buy it, end quote. This happened Sunday past. Elizabeth Spiers was appearing on MSNBC's program The Point with Ari Melber to discuss Kushner's role in the White House and the increasing scrutiny he's facing over his ties to Russian officials and bankers. Christ. This is just astonishing to me. I mean, this reads like, you know, some big financier, some big honcho in real estate or something who is being investigated by the feds. And actually what we're talking about here is the President of the United States, huh? Elizabeth Spiers said that Kushner was never particularly interested in journalism or its principles, but bought the New York Observer, see, the Kushner family owned it, because it was a respected news organ and, quote, he, Kushner, was drawn to the brand, end quote. That's all these people talk about is the brand, my brand, your brand. Take care of your brand. The fuck? Jesus. Other co-workers at the New York Observer have called Kushner, quote, a shithead and a know-nothing who has bought his way into everything ever with money he got from his criminal father, and who is deeply insecure and obsessed with fame. I guess you know that Jared Kushner's old man went to prison for a number of years for whatever bullshit he got caught doing. Ari Melber, he's the lawyer guy on MSNBC, he brought up Kushner and Trump's embrace of birtherism, the racist conspiracy theory that, you know, Trump was born in Kenya someplace and wasn't even a U.S. citizen. And Ari Melber asked Elizabeth Spiers about something she'd written. Melber read from Spiers' essay, quote, I told Jared I was particularly appalled by his father-in-law's birtherism stance. He rolled his eyes and said, he doesn't really believe it, Elizabeth. He just knows Republicans are stupid and they'll buy it. Melber said, he really said that to you? Spiers answered, yeah, he did. Well, that's a surprise, huh? No, Trump has, I mean, come on. He has no respect for anybody, not his family members, not the people who voted for him, not the United States, not the Constitution, nothing. He doesn't have any self-respect either. He's a fucking gangster. I mean, come on. He is a gangster who is also now the president of the United States. And I'm telling you, above and beyond all this nitpicky shit with Comey and the other people being investigated, and I call it nitpicky because in the great scheme of things, we have enormous shit that is going on that Trump is doing. He is deconstructing, as Steve Bannon, the Leninist, said, he's deconstructing the regulatory state. Now, that's supposed to be a bad thing. It isn't. You cannot have the kind of predatory, filthy, degenerate capitalism that has engulfed the United States without having a corresponding hard-ass regulatory situation where there are a number of agencies whose sole function is to knock the shit out of these capitalist pigs when they go too far, which is every day. But while we're over here watching, and it is entertaining, let's be honest about this. It is entertaining in a perverse, sick way to watch this illiterate son of a bitch who is the president of the United States surrounded by gangsters, liars, con artists, grifters, while they steal the country blind, fuck up every relationship we have with our allies. If you don't like our relationship with our allies, you feel it's too centrally based on war and or aggression, okay, I'll go along with that. But this is not the way to remove us from those alignments. What Trump is doing is like, what's the game where you pull the little pieces out, Kathy, and hope shit doesn't collapse? Jenga. That's what he's doing, only Trump doesn't give a shit what piece he pulls out. He just reaches and pulls shit out, and it comes collapse. That's what's happening. And again, if our alliances, and 90% of them are sickening to me also, but when this crazy fucker makes nice with medieval kingdom like Saudi Arabia, and then, gives the ass to people like Angela Merkel or the new leader of France or the British Prime Minister and treats them like they're shit. I think that is a clear indication that he really is out to destroy the United States.